The glittering lights of a major Hollywood premiere have always represented the absolute pinnacle of global entertainment success. A dazzling spectacle where ordinary reality ceases to exist and a hyper-stylized version of human achievement takes over. For decades, the red carpet has served as the ultimate stage for the world to witness its cultural icons moving gracefully past a wall of flashing cameras, dressed in haute couture, and embodying the very essence of American glamour and elite storytelling. To the average observer watching from afar, this environment appears to be an idyllic paradise of endless applause, wealth, and validation. A place where everyone would naturally want to remain forever once they have successfully managed to break through its notoriously exclusive barriers. The intense allure of Tinseltown is built precisely on this grand illusion of permanence, convincing audiences and aspiring artists alike that there is no greater joy or higher calling than being recognized under those blazing studio lights. Yet behind the carefully curated facades and the manufactured magic of the cinematic capital, a deeply complex and exhausting ecosystem exists, one that demands a total commitment of one's identity, privacy, and personal time in exchange for a spot in the celestial firmament of celebrity culture. It is a world where the sun always shines with an almost oppressive brightness, illuminating every minor flaw and turning the simple act of everyday living into a perpetual, high-stakes performance that never truly allows for a moment of genuine contemplation or quiet solitude. While countless individuals spend their entire lives chasing even a single fleeting moment in that intense spotlight, willing to sacrifice their relationships, comfort, and peace of mind for a taste of cinematic immortality, a select few who have actually reached those heights view the landscape through a drastically different lens. For these rare individuals, the relentless machinery of fame eventually loses its shiny luster, revealing the heavy emotional and psychological toll that comes with living a life constantly scrutinized by the public eye and dictated by the unpredictable whims of studio executives and media narratives. They begin to see that the constant celebration of the artificial can alienate a person from the grounded, messy, and beautiful realities of ordinary human existence, causing them to question whether the rewards of stardom are truly worth the loss of an authentic daily life. It takes an extraordinary amount of inner strength and clarity of purpose to standing at the very peak of such an industry and choose to consciously step backward, walking away from the applause and the lucrative contracts to seek something far more substantial and enduring. Before we dive deeper into the remarkable story of an iconic two-time Academy Award-nominated actress who did exactly that, choosing an unexpectedly quiet path over the glamorous chaos of Los Angeles, we invite you to subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you never miss our deep dives into the hidden lives of your favorite stars. The fascinating dichotomy between the manufactured perfection of Southern California and the raw, authentic rhythm of the American Midwest sets the stage for a classic tale of self-discovery and ultimate nonconformity. When we think of the great cinematic figures of the late 20th century, we often picture them securely ensconced in their sprawling Beverly Hills mansions, completely insulated from the mundane realities that the rest of the world navigates on a daily basis. They become mythical figures, disconnected from the concepts of grocery shopping, raising children without an army of nannies, or simply walking down a windy city street in a regular coat without being hounded by paparazzi. The entertainment industry actively encourages this separation, as it enhances the mystique of the movie star, creating a vast distance between the performer and the audience that feeds the public's endless appetite for celebrity gossip and admiration. However, when a performer explicitly rejects this unspoken contract of perpetual stardom, it sends shockwaves through the industry, leaving commentators and fans thoroughly mystified by the choice to prioritize normalcy over the exceptional privileges of a Hollywood elite lifestyle. This narrative of departure becomes even more compelling when the individual in question is not a inner player or a fleeting internet sensation, but a critically acclaimed powerhouse whose presence helped define some of the most beloved and culturally significant films of her generation. To possess the kind of raw, comedic genius and dramatic versatility that can effortlessly command the screen alongside the industry's biggest names, and to then decide that a normal life in a chilly Midwestern metropolis is infinitely preferable, is a decision that demands closer inspection. It forces us to examine what we truly value as a society and challenges the pervasive cultural myth that fame and geographical alignment with the entertainment capital are the ultimate markers of a successful and fulfilled life. The story we are exploring today is not merely about a temporary vacation from the screen or a standard career hiatus, but a profound, decades-long philosophical commitment to family, community, and personal authenticity that culminated recently in an incredibly rare, highly unexpected red carpet appearance that stunned onlookers and reminded the world of what it had been missing for over a decade. As the cameras flashed and the chaotic energy of a massive Disney and Pixar premiere enveloped the venue, the atmosphere was thick with excitement, marking the triumphant return of a beloved cinematic franchise that has touched the hearts of multiple generations. Confetti cannons boomed, sending cascades of colorful paper raining down upon an enthusiastic crowd, creating an intense sensory overload environment that would make even seasoned Hollywood veterans catch their breath in amazement. Walking amidst this storm of public celebration was a figure who looked entirely out of place yet completely at ease with her own sense of self, an actress who had not stood before such a media circus in a staggering 11 years. Her presence immediately shifted the narrative of the entire evening, drawing reporters like a magnet as they scrambled to understand how a woman who had spent the better part of the last 2 decades running a whimsical local gift shop in Chicago could suddenly reappear in the epicenter of Tinseltown glamour. Her candid, hilariously grounded reactions to the overwhelming spectacle served as a refreshing contrast to the practiced, rehearsed statements of her peers, signaling that while she may have returned to fulfill her artistic duties, her heart and soul remained firmly anchored thousands of miles away in the windy, unpredictable climate of the American heartland. The sudden reappearance of Joan Cusack on a major Hollywood red carpet for the massive global premiere of Toy Story 5 sent an immediate wave of nostalgia and intense curiosity through the entertainment journalism community. As reporters realized they were standing in the presence of a true cinematic treasure who had deliberately kept her distance from the industry's flashing lights for over a decade. Standing before the microphones with her signature expressive eyes and uniquely endearing vocal cadence, the 2-time Academy Award-nominated actress looked back upon the chaotic, high-energy spectacle of the event with a mixture of genuine amusement and mild bewilderment, openly admitting to the gathered press that this entire environment was simply no longer a part of her regular daily existence. With a refreshing level of candor that is almost entirely unheard of in contemporary celebrity circles, she joked about her immediate discomfort with the elaborate nature of the premiere, explaining that she had turned to her husband as the confetti cannons erupted and wondered what on earth was happening around them, emphasizing that she rarely even dresses up in her normal life. This striking vulnerability highlighted the massive gulf between the world she chose to leave behind and the deeply grounded, quiet life she has spent the last several decades deliberately constructing for herself far away from the superficial demands of Southern California stardom. To understand why this rare public return felt so significant, one must look back at the incredible trajectory of Joan Cusack's career and the profound impact she made on the cultural landscape during the height of her cinematic dominance in the late 1980s and 1990s. Born into a legendary Midwestern theatrical family alongside her equally famous brother Joan Cusack, she established herself early on as a performer of unparalleled comedic timing and profound emotional depth, earning her first Oscar nomination for her brilliant scene-stealing performance as the brightly styled, intensely loyal best friend in the 1988 classic Working Girl. She followed this triumph with a second Academy Award nomination for her unforgettable, hilarious, and deeply moving portrayal of a jilted bride in the 1997 comedy In and Out, solidifying her reputation as one of the most reliable and beloved character actresses in the entire film industry. From her brilliant comedic turn as the psychotic gold-digging nanny Debbie Jelinski in Addams Family Values to her beautifully nuanced, Emmy-winning performance as the agoraphobic Sheila Jackson in the hit premium television series Shameless, Cusack consistently demonstrated an ability to ground even the most eccentric, larger-than-life characters in a profound sense of human truth and relatability. Yet, even as her professional star burned at its brightest and the industry sought to pull her deeper into its central orbit, Cusack felt an increasing disconnect between the reality of her personal values and the highly artificial lifestyle that Hollywood demands of its elite figures. She openly reflected on her brief, historical attempts to navigate the social and professional landscape of Los Angeles, recounting a specific, telling anecdote that perfectly encapsulates why the city never truly felt like home to her. She described sitting in an ordinary Southern California coffee shop, attempting to enjoy a quiet moment, only to be constantly interrupted by the ambient noise of a highly competitive entertainment culture, such as a waitress exclaiming with breathless excitement about landing a minor acting role. This perpetual undercurrent of ambition, where every casual interaction was viewed through the lens of career advancement and where everyone seemed meticulously, almost unnaturally beautiful, struck a discordant note within her, causing her to realize that the cultural fabric of Tinseltown was entirely incompatible with her inner peace. In a wonderfully characteristic observation, she even pointed to the legendary relentless Southern California weather as a primary point of contention, jokingly stating that the environment was simply too sunny and that she does not even like the sun, preferring instead the dramatic, shifting seasons and the moody, unpredictable skies of her native Midwest. Driven by a profound desire to shield her family from the toxic, hyper-scrutinized fishbowls of celebrity culture, Cusack made the conscious, courageous choice to prioritize her marriage to her husband, Richard Burke, whom she wed in 1996, and the upbringing of their two sons, Dylan, John, and Miles. For Joan, the ultimate metric of a successful life was never found in the number of scripts piling up on her desk or the accumulation of industry trophies, but in the quiet, everyday moments of motherhood, ensuring that her children could grow up with a sense of stability, privacy, and normalcy that is virtually impossible to maintain within the borders of Los Angeles County. By anchoring her family firmly in the architectural beauty and communal warmth of Chicago, she consciously traded the glittering promises of Hollywood's peak creative years for the deeply rewarding, everyday labor of being a fully present mother, neighbor, and local citizen. This choice meant turning away from countless lucrative leading roles and high-profile industry events, effectively entering a period of self-imposed creative exile that left many studio executives completely baffled, yet it provided her with a rich, unshakable foundation of personal happiness that no cinematic accolade could ever hope to replicate. The sheer scale of her departure became fully evident when she noted that she had spent 11 entire years away from the traditional promotional circuit, completely absent from the glamorous red carpets that define the public face of modern entertainment. While she continued to lend her extraordinary voice to beloved projects from the comfort of local recording studios, most notably embodying the fierce, exuberant, and deeply empathetic cowgirl toy Jessie in Pixar's multi-billion-dollar Toy Story franchise, she completely severed her ties to the social elite of the industry. Her daily reality shifted away from film sets and production meetings toward the vibrant, community-focused streets of her Chicago neighborhood, where she chose to invest her creative energy into an entirely different kind of passion project. In a move that beautifully mirrors the whimsical, artistic, and fiercely independent spirit that characterized her best on-screen work, she opened a local brick-and-mortar gift shop called Judy Maxwell Home, named affectionately after Barbra Streisand's eccentric character in her absolute favorite movie, the 1972 classic comedy What's Up, Doc? This charming retail space, located far from the sleek boutiques of Beverly Hills, became the physical manifestation of her desire to connect with people on a purely human, non-transactional level, filled to the brim with sweet, silly, and carefully curated items designed to bring immediate joy to ordinary folks. Cusack laughed as she described the early days of running her beloved shop, confessing that she initially refused to put price tags on any of the merchandise because she felt a deep, genuine sadness whenever a customer actually purchased something, realizing that she would then have to go out into the world and hunt for another unique item to replace it. She characterized the entire endeavor as a hilarious, financially unprofitable journey that serves as a wonderful, fulfilling hobby rather than a traditional business, allowing her to interact with her fellow Chicagoans not as an elusive Academy Award-nominated movie star, but as a friendly, slightly eccentric shopkeeper who genuinely cares about local crafts and last-minute surprises. This deliberate descent into the beautiful simplicity of ordinary life is what made her sudden, triumphant return to the Hollywood spotlight for the unveiling of Toy Story 5 so incredibly captivating for the public. It presented a rare, magnificent vision of an artist who had successfully conquered the highest peaks of her profession, walked away on her own terms to discover what truly mattered in this life, and then returned temporarily to her craft with her integrity, her humor, and her soul completely intact, ready to share her brilliant gifts with the world once more without ever losing sight of the home she had built. The triumphant return of Joan Cusack to the global stage with the record-breaking release of Toy Story 5 serves as a beautiful, definitive proof that true artistic excellence never truly fades, even when it is deliberately hidden away from the public eye for more than a single decade. By reprising her legendary voice role as the high-spirited, deeply empathetic cowgirl Jessie, she has once again anchored one of the most culturally significant and financially successful cinematic franchises in human history, proving that her creative output remains as potent and vital as ever. The massive animated sequel, which has already shattered multiple historic box office records worldwide and features a highly publicized, emotionally resonant track by Taylor Swift, reminds audiences of all ages that behind the spectacular digital animation lies a deeply human soul, brought to life by a woman who chose to live a real life instead of merely performing one for the cameras. Speaking to the packed crowd of reporters at the star-studded premiere, Cusack expressed a deep, heartfelt sense of honor for having been allowed to work within the entertainment industry for such an incredibly long time. Yet she immediately balanced this gratitude with her trademark, unshakable Midwestern pragmatism, reiterating to everyone listening that it is equally magnificent to simply live your life, raise your children, and be a normal person in a city like Chicago. This profound philosophy of normalcy is precisely what elevates Joan Cusack from a simple Hollywood success story into a truly legendary figure of personal integrity and self-determination within an industry that rarely permits its stars to leave on their own terms. Her extraordinary journey began decades ago in the fertile creative landscape of the American Midwest, growing up in a fiercely artistic household surrounded by siblings who shared her deep passion for the craft of acting, most notably her brother Joan Cusack, with whom she shared the screen in early generation-defining films like the 1984 classic 16 Candles. This deep familial anchoring in the reality of the theater, rather than the corporate machinery of the West Coast studio system, provided her with an early, invaluable immunity to the seductive illusions of fame and fortune. When she met and married her husband, Richard Burke, in 1996, she made a quiet, definitive vow to ensure that her marriage and the impending lives of her two sons, Dylan John and Miles, would never be sacrificed on the altar of celebrity culture or treated as mere accessories to an ongoing public relations campaign, as her sons grew into adulthood, now aged 28 and 25 respectively. They did so far away from the toxic, competitive environment of Hollywood private schools and the relentless gaze of paparazzi cameras, enjoying instead a rich, well-rounded upbringing shaped by the genuine community spirit, architectural beauty, and seasonal changes of Chicago. While other actors of her elite caliber spent those crucial years attending endless industry networking events, obsessing over the trajectory of their box office standings and fighting to remain relevant in a rapidly changing media landscape, Cusack was completely content to be a normal mother, driving her kids to school, participating in local community events, and finding immense joy in the everyday rhythms of domestic life. This deliberate choice did not mean a total abandonment of her artistic gifts, as evidenced by her brilliant recurring work in acclaimed projects like the animated series The Stinky and Dirty Show, the heartwarming holiday feature films Let It Snow and Klaus, her compelling dramatic turn in the psychological thriller series Homecoming, and even lending her iconic voice to digital interactive experiences like Disney Speedstorm. Yet each of these creative endeavors was approached on her own terms, treated as a joyful extension of her identity rather than a desperate attempt to maintain a position within the Hollywood hierarchy. The profound beauty of her current life is perhaps best illustrated by her daily presence at Judy Maxwell Home, her beloved, unprofitable Chicago gift shop that serves as a living testament to her love for classic cinema and human connection. Named directly after Barbra Streisand's famously chaotic and endearing character in the 1972 masterpiece What's Up, Doc? Within the walls of this charming neighborhood staple, she has created a sanctuary of the whimsical and the absurd, a place where local crafts, sweet surprises, and silly household items are curated not for the purpose of generating massive corporate revenue, but for the pure, unadulterated joy of making an ordinary stranger smile. This delightfully eccentric hobby perfectly encapsulates the magnificent irony of Joan Cusack's existence, a 2-time Academy Award-nominated powerhouse, an Emmy winner, and the voice behind one of Disney's most lucrative global icons. Spending her afternoons happily worrying about the lack of price tags on local trinkets and mourning the loss of a curated item when a customer decides to purchase it. It is a life lived with immense intentionality, a brilliant demonstration that the ultimate luxury in this modern, hyper-connected world is not fame, wealth, or endless sunshine, but the absolute freedom to choose anonymity, stability, and peace of mind over the relentless demands of a public persona. As the cinematic world celebrates the unprecedented success of Toy Story 5 and marvels at the timeless charm she continues to bring to the character of Jessie, Joan Cusack stands as an inspiring, comforting beacon for audiences and fellow artists alike, proving that it is entirely possible to participate in the highest levels of global entertainment without allowing it to consume your humanity. Her brief, radiant return to the red carpet was not a sign of a permanent return to the Hollywood machine, but a beautiful, fleeting gift to her millions of fans, a reminder of the immense warmth, comedic brilliance, and profound integrity that she has brought to our screens for over 40 years. Having fulfilled her duties to the historic franchise and shared her joyful spirit with the world once more, she has happily turned her back on the blazing sun and the chaotic flashbulbs of Los Angeles, stepping back onto a plane headed toward the cool, windy streets of Chicago, where her husband, her grown children, her beloved neighborhood gift shop, and the beautiful simplicity of a truly normal life are waiting to welcome her back home where she truly belongs.